On this experimental episode of Resequeled, Slimebeast and Dead Palette discuss their pitches for a Powerpuff Girls live-action TV show in light of the upcoming CW show, which is currently being rewritten due to its bad PR involving its adult-oriented, leaked scripts with corny dialogue. Abysme acts as a judge as to which pitch is better. Welcome to Resequeled pitch version. We're going to try something new, and we're going to see how this works. This is just a pressure cooker format. We're going to try something new, see how this pans out for us. I'm Dead Palette Slimebeast. Mm-hmm. You are my opponent today, and Abysme is going to be a judge, because he's a bitch.
Now, what we're doing is a bit different, as Dead Palette said, because we are on a time constraint. We're going to try to crank out a quick episode here about a certain topic, and Abysme will be judging us. There is a bomb attached to Abysme's neck, and if the timer runs out before we are done pitching and judging, his head will be blown off completely.
Mm-hmm. And if I don't win, his head will also be blown off.
And if I don't win, his head will also be blown off. We're just sitting here with two triggers. We got one. Each of us is time's ticking down.
It's that meme with the two red buttons: explode Abysme's head or explode Abysme's head.
Yes, so there's one hand over each.
Okay, so essentially we're going to be talking about Powerpuff Girls, and we're going to make our own pitch for a live-action Powerpuff Girls.
Right.
Outside of that, gloves are off. Who wants to go first?
Well, I just want to say
that's what you're supposed to be asking Abysme.
Abysme will be judging because he has never seen the Powerpuff Girls. So take it away, Abysme.
I want a good, clean, fair debate. So Slimebeast, you go first.
You're not going to get that with me. All right. Have you ever seen me debate? Okay. Anyway, so Powerpuff Girls. They had a script leak that was shitty. Everybody said it was shitty. And now they're remaking the show. They're redoing it. They're refilming it, reshooting it, rewriting it. But the powers that be, the executives, the shills at fucking CW, say it's not because of the script leak and it's not because of anything you guys said. It's because that we decided it should be more gritty and grounded in reality. So they're lying. They don't want audiences to know they have that much power over them and that they can completely torpedo their shows and make them change it. So they're lying and saying, we wanted to do it anyway. But I'm going to take it at face value just for the sake of my pitch. I'm going to pretend they're not lying. They want a gritty and realistic Powerpuff Girls show. So I'm going to try to pitch within those boundaries and create the greatest live-action Powerpuff Girls reboot ever made. My show does not star the Powerpuff Girls. My show...
It's actually a show about Captain Planet.
Yes, it's a show about the Rowdy Rough Boys.
My show is about the Rubik's Cube, folks. So my show stars a character that will be created for this show. Now, this character is a henchman. He is a henchman by trade, as one would be... Because you're in Townsville, you're in a fictional city, a fictional town, I should say. Where things are funny and silly and wahaha funny. So he's a henchman by trade. That is legitimately his job. He pays taxes. He has, insurance. He's listed as a henchman, with the government.
Which gang is he a part of?
This is the thing.
Powerpuff Girls universe.
This is the thing. He's kicked around between, villains. He sort of is just like looking for a steady job as a henchman. Never works out. Bosses get captured, he fucks up, different things like that where he gets ousted. He sort of is
this is really sounding like a character or two in Venture Brothers.
I have not seen Venture Brothers, but thank you for telling me that so I can steer away from it now and win anyway. But yeah, so he's sort of like a Jesse Pinkman kind of character, a young guy who's kind of a fuck up, kind of a, druggo, whatever, a weedser, a heroiner, whatever. And
try this heroin and you can be a hero winner.
Yes. So, not the best life, not the best status in life. He kind of, is living on the edge of poverty and so on and so forth. Now, we get to see through him the dark side of Townsville. The dark side of Townsville is something only seen to people like him, the people who are in the underbelly. To everyone else, it's like an idyllic, wonderful place with no problems, so on and so forth. So we get sort of like a view of this saccharine, cutesy world of Townsville being like a public image and being, something that very much exists to a certain extent, but only for the people who aren't the Morlocks of the city, of the town, I should say. So the Powerpuff Girls age them up, whatever you want to do. It's the CW, so they have to be, kick-ass 20-somethings who are like, whatever. But
yeah, age them up, whatever you want to do, because after you age them up, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's whatever. You gotta fit it in with Supergirl and Batwoman and Fatwoman and Splattergirl and all the other shit.
Batwoman?
Splattergirl shits onto CW.
Yeah.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Isn't it time we got a Laotian Splatterwoman?
Laotian Splatterwoman.
That is the weirdest porn category I've ever heard.
But, so anyway, we have our main character. So,
Tub Girl. You haven't heard of Tub Girl? Don't bang Tub Girl.
Nope.
So we have our main character, the henchman. We could call him something like Manny Hench or some shit like that, like you would see on a Powerpuff Girls episode. And we just experience the world through his eyes. He's part of a plan, by this villain. And that goes wrong, and things are terrible, and something, really dreadful happens, and he barely makes it out alive, that type of thing. Like a Breaking Bad type experience, where things are just really awful all the time for this guy. But, as I said, you see glimpses of the Powerpuff Girls, and scenes with the mayor of Townsville, and different things like that, where they're having a grand old time, and everything's funny and wonderful, while people are dying, and people are, living in the streets, and things like that.
Is the mayor of Townsville being played by a little person?
It would be hard to. It would be hard to do that because they're gonna pick Danny DeVito. Like, if they have the chance, CW will pick him to, for no reason.
Well, would Danny DeVito not be Mojo Jojo?
I don't know. Mojo Jojo, that'd be great.
I misspoke when I said little person. I meant to say a fucking midget.
Oh, I see. Maybe. Miss Bellum could be played by an abnormally tall woman, yes. But, so that would be the whole thing, and, it would be like this storyline where you have Professor Utonium and you have his lab and you have all the scientific discoveries.
Utonium?
What is his name?
Professor X?
No. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yes, Professor X.
Chemical
It's
X.
Professor Plutonium, but he uses Chemical X.
Professor Xtonium is sort of like, now the head of like this lab, the head of this, big
Professor
SCP
Dr.
type.
Malcolm X.
Yes. He's the head of sort of like this SCP umbrella corporation type thing. It's all cutesy and nice, but there's the darker side to the corporation. And so you just have our character getting like sort of embroiled in, heists from this corporation, from these labs, different things like that, villains want, different things. And you maybe could even have a little bit of a, Walter White and Jesse dynamic come up when the henchman eventually connects and starts working with Professor Plutonium on something. Sort of under the table. His hand is forced. He has to find someone in the underworld to help him out with something in an emergency situation, But that would be I'm going to keep it short and brief, if at all possible at this point, and say that is my pitch. The Powerpuff Girls world as seen through somebody whose ass they routinely kick, who spends months in the hospital with a broken back, with the TV turned on showing, all these glowing news reports about the Powerpuff Girls and how wonderful they are and things like that. So,
and same thing for the Lennox Avenue Ladybugs.
I have no idea what the fuck that means, but yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I think that pitch is shit. It's absolute dog shit. I think I can do better.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about all the feet in your I
really don't know.
All the armpits, all the, yeah.
Okay, that's sensible. Listen, I can understand an armpit or two, but feet. So here's the general question. You can do a dark, gritty reboot of Powerpuff Girls aged up. The question is, why would you? There's a bunch of media out there of something like Scooby-Doo. They're culturally enduring characters. There's a lot of demographic penetration for something like Scooby-Doo. So you could do
DP,
like a dark,
in other words.
a lot of DP. Oh my God, Scoob got the DP.
It's me, Shaggy Scoob. How you doing, eh?
It's
Scooby-Doo
me,
reboot went really British.
It's the Australian advertising agency.
It's me, Velma. What are you doing over there? I can't afford my glasses. Jankies!
Oh, fuck me.
So DP's pitch is British Powerpuff Girls. Okay, a Bisbee judge.
Yes.
Moving on.
So, with something like that, you can do a gritty reboot of something like Scooby-Doo. Powerpuff Girls really only had the show and then the reboot that people didn't like, you pretty much only have a cutesy, fun-loving cartoon with zany humor and funny girl empowerment. To go anywhere off-brand on that is just a bad idea because you don't want to confuse the consumer. So don't do that.
Yeah, all those Powerpuff Girls consumers. Billion-dollar industry.
Gotta break. That's the exact point. Is you just don't want to confuse them because I thought this was supposed to be a fun cutesy thing, and they're talking about their vaginas. They're doing the Amy Schumers. I don't want that. So what you got to do is instead focus it on girls. It's not Powerpuff Women. It's Powerpuff Girls, and so you have to have, I'd say, young actors around 12, 13, 14. So they're old enough to be good actors, actresses, but not so young that they're not girls. And then the premise of the show is you're going to have Professor Utonium. He's going to be a character who is just a savant. He's doing all kinds of different things on the subject of intelligence and creating new life. And it's very clear from the outset that he is a person who has no romantic interest in women or men or anyone, but still wants to have something that he can call his own, that he can call his creation. So he starts genetically modifying a monkey with chemical X, and he creates Mojo Jojo. Mojo Jojo sees all of the power hungriness in the world and says, well, I'm obviously big monkey brain primate mentality. I am going to do what all of the evil people are doing to seize power. And Professor Utonium is like, don't do that, please, child. But, my surrogate son. Mojo Jojo runs away. You can have that be the general premise. But you got to start off the show with a flashback scene of just the Powerpuff Girls kicking ass, doing whatever, because you got to get people's attention real quick. And then,
so at what point does this depart from Mojo Jojo's actual origin on the show?
No, I'm saying you just go more in depth with it philosophically.
So you're just gonna retell. Seriously, all right, I'm gonna let you finish. Okay, go ahead.
So, Professor Utonium, very depressed, and he's, cook it up. He's like, no, I'm gonna synthesize humans, and then he has the big old boiling pot with the sugar, the spice, and everything nice, and boop, Chemical X gets in again. He's like, no, shit, that ruined my life last time, and the Powerpuff Girls pop out of it doing their pose, and then you could have like the violin swell of the Powerpuff, like slower and fun, and then
he hits them over the head with a baseball bat and dumps them in a dumpster. What TV? Jesus Christ! Good God! All right, Abysme Judge.
You're done. Okay, Judge.
So the premise of the general episodes would mostly be focused on the first season, because, listen, my idea is so incredible, we're going to get quite a few seasons out of this. CW is going to run this into the ground just like Green Arrow. What we're going to do is have the first season be about all of them just being kids amped up to 11. They're crazy, they're rowdy, they're rowdy boys even. And what you got to do is focus on the fact that they are bucking gender norms, because I think that that's where a lot of the CW writers got confused, is they saw that the Powerpuff Girls did play with like ideas of sex, but not like sexuality. They had like jokes about, haha, Miss Bellum has big honkers, but it was never like anything sexually suggestive. It was just
never,
like tea.
It was never like Buttercup saying, when she's like 18 years old, saying, and, oh yeah, I remember Miss Bellum's gigantic honkers, and that was when I knew.
Yeah. It was much more about like the idea of like, there's nothing wrong with Buttercup being this, tough, aggressive person. That's a perfectly viable personality, and it's not just a personality for guys; it's a personality for girls too. It's like, cool. They're confusing that with the idea of that this lewdness. It doesn't need to be that. It's really a really regressive idea. This idea that you're going to have like gay marriage isn't about people loving each other. Yeah. It's about butt sex. It's so annoying. Anyway, So you have to reorient about that, and take each episode to challenge a gender norm of some kind, and that's perfectly fine. I think that would be a positive message to put out there. And then, lo and behold, mid-season, a big old supply of Chemical X was stolen. What is that? That is Mojo Jojo creating the Rowdy Rough Boys. And they become the primary antagonists for the first season, and they're going to go at it with the Powerpuff Girls, and they're going to learn stuff about each other, about their differences, and by the end of the season, the Rowdy Rough Boys are kind of like anti-heroes, trying to give us a hint into what's going on in the world of Mojo Jojo. But Mojo Jojo is on a remote island somewhere. He's not at his old base. He's at a remote island somewhere, and he's like, there's nothing on Earth that's going to be able to deal with the power of Chemical X. I got to go below. And then there's just a big old pit of red glowing hole straight to hell. And he's going to, what's going to happen? Are we going to see him? Yeah. So the ratings off the charts. I'm already getting word from CW that I'm going to be doing the rewrite. So,
well, of course you are. It's the CW. They like shit.
I'm gonna be the first one to bring a daytime Emmy to CW.
Hang on. I want to apply for a job to rate for the CW. Let me whack my head against this. Okay, I'm ready. Splatter Woman is
Laotian Splatter Woman. Both of you lose because Laotian Splatter Woman is clearly the winner.
It's really bitch.
So, here's the thing.
Well,
Brandon's
can I just
pitch,
make one point quickly before we move to the judging phase?
No. Brandon's pitch is more likely to actually appear on the CW.
Really?
And be on a networked show because it has more intact about the Powerpuff Girls.
So that makes it more like okay.
Yeah, just it has a better chance.
That's the logic. The idea of the Powerpuff Girls being a show about the Powerpuff Girls. Yes, very weird, insightful.
Here's the thing, though.
Listen, we're going to turn down your treatment of the Powerpuff Girls because it's mostly about a Laotian woman shitting her way out of prison.
But here's the thing. I think that Slimebee's show would be picked up as the Jesse, or not the Jesse spinoff, who's the fucking lawyer in Better Call Saul.
Better Call Abisme. Yes.
Better Call Abisme. Yours would be the kind of like cult hit that takes place in the Powerpuff Girls universe, but with a lovable henchman character on the side who gets their own spin-off because of how Gangbusters Brandon's pitch does.
Mine is the Gotham.
Wins, but you win later.
Okay.
Yeah, yours is Gotham, exactly. And Gotham is, in my opinion, a pile of crap because, what if we had nothing about Batman in the Batman show?
All right, if you guys want to take Brandon's idea and just deliver 3 to 6 children into the clutches of Hollywood executives, that's fine. Personally, I have a bit of concern about that, but okay. Okay. Just want to take a bunch of kids and put them right into the hands of those big, sweaty, meaty hands of those Hollywood execs, huh? Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Well, I was thinking about someone that's very trustworthy. What's the name of that guy from, he directed, Dan Schneider. Dan Schneider.
Jeepers Creepers. Dan Schneider, yeah. Well, the Powerpuff Girls are getting feet this year.
And armpits.
Yeah. Damn it.
New features of the Powerpuff Girls.
I am Mojo Jojo, and I will spray ketchup all over the feet of the Powerpuff Girls.
This has been Resequeled. Please let us know your pitches down in the comments, as well as your feelings on this format. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Fearfic channel, and also if you are not new and can still tolerate us. We've been Slimebeast, Abisme, and DP. The snips, snails, and puppy dog tales of the creepypasta world. Now screw off.